Hello everyone. In this lecture today I'm going to talk to you about transposons or simply transposable elements. Before I go into the details, let me first describe what does this word transposons mean. Okay, if you look at this word transposons, it consists of two words, transport. Okay, one word is transport, right? So basically these transposons are the elements that can transport themselves to different locations in the genome. Okay, so these are that kind of genetic elements. Okay, so if you look at this word transposons, in here you will see transport, transport plus ons, so they can actually transport on themselves. That's why these are called transposons or simply transposable elements, right? So basically, what are transposons? Transposons or transposable elements refer to a class of DNA sequences. Okay, these are DNA sequences that can move to different locations within the genome, right? So if we have a genome DNA, let's say that these transposons are these DNA sequences. Let's say this is the DNA sequence. This can move within the genome. It can go here. Okay, so these kind of elements which can move from one location to other location in the genome, these class of a DNA sequences or this part of the DNA sequence is called transposons or simply transposable elements. So these transposable genes are adorned with a variety of names like jumping gene, mobile gene, or mobile genetic elements, etc. Okay, so another important thing is the first transposable elements were discovered in maize by Barbara McClintock in the year 1948. Okay, so they were first described in the year 1948 by Barbara. So now moving to the another part. So the transposable elements, they play a critical role in the molecular processes that influence genomic plasticity and gene expression regulation. Okay, so they play a critical role. They may play, okay, not play, they may play a critical role in molecular processes that influence genomic plasticity and gene expression regulation, the details of which I will discuss in the later slides. So now transposons or simply transposable elements, current estimates, current studies, they estimate that these transposable elements they make up between half to 2/3 of the human genome. Okay, so how much of the human genome is occupied by these transposons? Up to 2/3 of the human genome is occupied by these transposable elements. Okay, so now coming to the classes of transposons. Here I discuss what are transposons. Transposons are the transposable elements that can move, or the part of the DNA sequences that can move from one location to other location in the genome. And these transposable elements, they occupy up to 2/3 of the human genome. Okay, 2/3 of human genome. So this is very important, up to 2/3. So now coming to the classes of transposons. Transposons are mainly classified based on their mechanism to copy or move throughout the genome. Okay, so based on the mechanism how they copy or move in the genome, based on that they have been classified into two major types, that is class 1 transposons or retrotransposon, and class 2 transposons or DNA transposons. Okay, so now further on, so how class 1 transposons they function? The class 1 transposon, they function through a copy paste mechanism requiring an RNA intermediate, endonuclease, and reverse transcriptase, because these class 1 transposons are also called retrotransposon, so therefore they also require reverse transcriptase for transposition or for the movement. Okay, so class 1 transposons, how they function? They function through a copy paste mechanism requiring an RNA intermediate, endonuclease, reverse transcriptase for transposition. Whereas the class 2 transposons or DNA transposons, okay, these are DNA transposons, they are transposed via cut and paste mechanism. Okay, their mechanism was copy and paste, whereas the mechanism of class 2 transposon is cut and paste mechanism, and they only require endonuclease activity for excision and insertion. Okay, so they only require the endonuclease activity. So this is the difference in the mechanism of class 1 and class 2 transposons. So class 1 transposon, they function through a copy paste mechanism, and they require RNA intermediate, endonuclease, and reverse transcriptase because they are retrotransposons. But whereas the class 2 transposons, they function via cut and paste mechanism, requiring only endonuclease activity for excision and insertion. So class 1 transposons are further classified into two groups based on the presence or absence of a long terminal repeats. Okay, this you should remember. So they are further classified into two types. And DNA transposon, another important thing that I would like to mention here is that these DNA transposons are apparently not mobile, but their mobility, they have this, their sequence includes a protein called transposase. Okay, transposase. This is the protein or the enzyme of protein which is bound by the terminal inverted repeats (TIRs) that are actually responsible for the excision and reintegration of the elements into the genome. Okay, so these what helps this transposases help in the movement of these DNA transposons. Okay, so now another topic is the origins and biogenesis of transposable elements or transposons. These transposable elements or transposons are present in most known organisms, including prokaryotes. But in prokaryotes, they comprise a relatively small fraction of the genome. Okay, so in the prokaryotes, the transposable elements, they comprise a really small fraction of a genome, whereas in multicellular eukaryotes, they are present. They can occupy up to 2/3 of the genome, as I mentioned earlier. So they occupy the substantial fraction of the genome by the order of magnitude. Okay, so then another important thing is transposable elements are known to be known to have a significant influence on genome structure and evolution in eukaryotic species. Okay, in eukaryotic species, they have a significant influence. Transposable elements are likely to be significant drivers of speciation events due to their capacity to drive both large-scale changes in a chromosomal organization and their capacity to create new genes, new chromatin, and also new chromatin landscapes. Okay, so they are the drivers, significant drivers of speciation events because they bring significant changes in chromosomal organization, and also they have the capacity to create new genes and new chromatin landscape. Transposable elements are often not conserved across evenly closely related taxa. Okay, so they are not, unlike the genes, they are not conserved across even closely related taxa. Species within the same genus may have different and unique classes of transposable elements in their genomes. For example, chimpanzees have two families of transposable elements which are not present in the human genome, even though so they are very closely related taxa. So this is really important, guys. So they are not often conserved across even closely related taxa. These transposable elements are. Okay, so now moving to the another term, exaptation. You might have heard of adaptation. So the definition, the Google definition of exaptation is that it is the process by which features acquire functions for which they were not originally adapted or selected. Okay, so this is the definition of exaptation from Google. So what transposons do? Transposons were initially, they were thought to be either genomic parasites or junk, but now the evidence is accumulating that they have acquired novel functional roles in a number of instances in many, if not most, multicellular genomes. In multicellular genomes, now these transposable elements have been shown in multicellular organisms. It has been shown that these transposons may have novel functional roles. Okay, if in many multicellular organisms, if not in all. So this type of phenomenon is usually referred to as a exaptation, a terminology initially introduced to describe the acquisition of a new function of a trait, acquisition of a new function of a trait during evolution, and then used for DNA sequences such as transposable elements. So what is exaptation? Exaptation, this type of phenomenon is usually referred to as exaptation, a terminology initially introduced to describe the functional acquisition of a new function of a trait during the evolution and then used for DNA sequences such as transposable elements. So now, coming to the mechanism of function, how these transposable elements, how they function, these recent studies describe the role of transposable elements in influencing genomic plasticity as well as their exaptation into transcriptional regulators, so such as new promoters, enhancers, or insulators, and sources of new transcription factor binding sites. So first is genomic plasticity. So what is actually genomic plasticity? Genomic plasticity, the literal meaning of genomic plasticity is the alterable nature of the genome. So genomic plasticity refers to the changeable nature of the genome. So these transposable elements, they can cause changes in the genome. They can make the genome nature changeable. So that's why they play a role in genomic plasticity. So what they do, despite the genome has a set of mechanisms to regulate transposable elements activity, but some TEs, transposable elements, they escape repression and introduce new insertion both in germline cells during embryonic development and in somatic tissues later in life. So these transposable some transposable elements can escape the genome's set of mechanisms to regulate TE activity, and they can introduce insertion. These transposable elements can be inserted into the germline cells or also in somatic tissues. So T insertions, especially in exogenic regions, that can often lead to gene dysregulation and damage. So transposable elements insertion in exonic region, not exogenic, exonic, that means exon region. So there's a coding region, exon region. So exonic regions that can often lead to gene dysregulation and damage, because exon is the coding part of the coding region in the multicellular organism, and if these Ts are get inserted into the exon, so they disrupt this exon and they disrupt gene regulation and also damage. They cause gene damage. Transposable elements insertion can also create a new exons or a new genes by carrying a long non-retrotransposon DNA sequences. So another way how these transposable elements, they can cause genomic plasticity is by the TE insertion, transposable element insertion, that can create new exons or new genes by carrying a long non-transposon DNA sequences. Another way is that these transposable elements can lead to a phenomenon that is called transduction. So what is it actually? It refers to the duplication of 3' or 5', 3' or 5' flanking sequences along with the new copy of the original TE. So the duplication of 3' or 5' sequences, 5' planking sequences, 5 planking sequences along with the new copy of the original transposable elements, right? So if these transposable elements, this gets introduced into the genome and there is a duplication of 3' and 5' planking sequences, and that's this is called actually transduction. And this is how also these transposable elements, they can cause genomic plasticity. So these are the different mechanisms by which transposable elements can cause genomic plasticity, and this genomic plasticity refers to the alterable nature of the genome or the changeable nature of the genome. So now the next way how these transposable elements function is by transcriptional regulation. So what they do, several possible mechanisms for retrotransposons RNA in the transcriptional regulation have been hypothesized. These includes this RNA recruitment of protein complexes and RNA inhibition by acting as a decoy or transcription factor sink. So basically these transposons, they act as a transcription factor sink indirectly through the act of transcription itself and also through nucleosome organization. Okay, so transcriptional regulation, there are several mechanisms how these transposable elements play significant role in transcriptional regulation. One is acting as a transcription factor sink indirectly and also through the nucleosome organization. Okay, so another way these transposable elements function is promoters derived from transposable elements. For example, most transposable elements, they contain cis regulatory sequences that function as promoters. Okay, so most transposable elements, they contain a cis regulatory sequences that function as promoters in addition to providing elements recognized by host cell machinery to control TE transposition. That means transposable elements transposition. These sequences have potential to be accepted as promoters for neighboring genes. Okay, so these sequences, they have the potential to be accepted as a promoters for the neighboring genes. So this is how also transposable elements can function. Another is enhancer derived from transposable elements. So transposable elements can be accepted into enhancers by donating sequences that can regulate the expression of neighboring genes. Enhancers are constituted by an array of transcription factor binding sites and are usually located far away from the promoter region of their target gene. Yeah, they are located really far away, these enhancers, and they are also defined as distal regulatory regions. Enhancer regulate the expression of genes by interacting with transcription factors. Okay, so they interact with the transcription factors and they regulate the expression of genes, right? So the first evidence, so how the enhancers derive from transposable elements, the first evidence actually of these transposable elements exaptation into enhancer. Okay, so when this was reported, this started to appear in the early 1990s. Okay, in the early 1990s, and implicated mostly SINE sign and LINE line. So what are these? These are transposable elements. Sign line refers to long interspersed nuclear elements. These are lines, whereas sign refers to short interspersed nuclear elements. So these are actually transposable elements. Okay, so this is as an answer, transposable elements may regulate the function of genes. So final mechanism by which these transposable elements can function is as an insulator derived from the transposable elements. That means that transposable elements can become insulators for nearby transcriptional unit, either by preventing the spread of the heterochromatin from one locus to another or by acting as an enhancer blocker. So basically these the transposable elements, they can be insulator. So how they can be insulator? By preventing, either by preventing the spread of the heterochromatin from one locus to another or by acting as an enhancer blockers. Perhaps the most persuasive example of this mechanism is provided by B2 sign acting as a transcriptional as well as epigenetic roadblocks. Okay, so this B2 sign, this is one B2 sign, so this is one example of a transposable element. This actually acts as a transcriptional as well as epigenetic roadblocks at the murine growth hormone GS locus. Okay, so it acts as a insulator for this murine growth hormone and it silences its expression. Okay, so the example of transposable elements functioning as insulator is in the case of B2 sign, for example, which acts as a transcriptional as well as epigenetic roadblocks at the murine growth hormone locus and silences its expression. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much for your kind attention.